clearly? Now you should hear me well and you should see me well. If you can give me a feedback in the chat, please. Sound is good. Okay, great. Thanks. We'll be starting in 1 minute. How is everyone? We have rain today in Prague, so that was the first snow. We have a saying in Czech that the Martin's Eve is bringing snow into the country. We had the Eve on Saturday, and the snow came last night. But it didn't keep. It's not white here in Prague. Yes, snow is coming. Hello, Paula. So today we have a special webinar, which was the theme of the webinar was a winner in a campaign that we had, and it's also the last webinar before Singapore Connect, and also we are launching 5 new products tomorrow, so we have quite busy time here in Prague. But this is more. This webinar is far less technical. And it's again about the sales support. It's about how to do proper sales, how to do proper project management. Then we'll be not talking about API. We will not be talking about sensors. This is really more how to construct an IoT project in order to be successful. And we would like to share with you the latest. Maybe I have just this introductory slide. Will be around 30-40 minutes today. I have 20 slides, so it will be normal lengths. We are ready for your Q&A in the end. And we are also listing the documents beforehand for your download. 2 documents that you most probably already know are the general qualification discovery and POC definition checklist, and the one specialized for logistics. Plus, we have a new web form that collects information about the use case in order to advise you what kind of device, what kind of settings to use best for your use case. And we'll be starting in a not traditional way. We have really great news because there was one of the leading Czech insurance company is not only launching the product based on the SimpleLeak and on the SimplePack, but they are running a huge outdoor campaign and TV campaign around our product. The products are featured. So I'll show you just very quickly. If I'll succeed, I'll show you the 2 videos. We are preparing it. There will be a site dedicated to it, and we are also subtitling it. It's very short. Don't worry. It's 6 seconds.
A co váš pizzeťák je ve škole s pohybovým čidlem Direct Echo, máte jistotu. Direct Echo pro váš klid.
So that was the first one. It was about the peace of mind for your students, for your kids, that you know that they are really at school, that their this year got opened. And the second one is about the leak detector. Let me try to play it. It worked. I'm sorry if it's not. I have hard time.
Jistotu. Direct Echo pro váš klid. A co Otto? Nekape? S vodním čidlem Direct Echo máte jistotu. Direct Echo pro váš klid. A co Otto? Nekape? S vodním čidlem Direct Echo
So those were the videos, and let's go to the main presentation. So maybe just some pictures of the direct echo campaign. Those are city lights and print advertisements running widely here in Czech Republic. We expect more campaigns in other countries as well to be launched. So I will just start a very short introduction about what is really important to understand in all the projects is that IoT is not about devices, IoT is not about network, and IoT is not about a platform. That's, I think, the crucial thing. Because we have, the device makers, they tell you it's about devices, Sigfox tells you it's about the network, the platforms, Azure and SAP. They tell you it's about platform, and it's not about anything like that, because IoT is a digital transformation process. So IoT is more about how to transform a company, how to transform services, how to transform processes, using the deep and real-time knowledge of the physical world. And this deep knowledge and real-time knowledge can bring better decisions, better security, new services, or safe resources. So this is really basically the main thing that you should take out of this webinar is that IoT is about digital transformation. That it's about processes, and that's critical to understand, because we tend to have a tendency to present it as a technical thing, and it's not a technical thing. It's a management, digital transformation, consulting things, and every one of us, we should be far more in the consulting mindset than in the technical mindset. How much the device costs, how I shall do integration into Azure, how is the coverage? Those are technicalities. But the main thing is digital transformation, and that brings the biggest danger that we have seen so many times, and we are getting it all the time, and that's the gadgetry. You have a cool device, you have the leakage, so you give it to the insurance company, and you say, "Oh, it's a really cool device. It lasts for 10 years. Please, you will lower your costs of insurance risk." You must. So we think when we love it, the other party will love it as well. So this is not the case. The insurance companies or the tracking, the logistic companies, they are not interested in devices. They are interested in processes, how to increase revenue, how to decrease costs, and those are the things that they want to hear about. They don't want to play with gadgetry, and quite often. When you give a device to someone, it just stays on their table and they are not going to do anything with it. So please don't use devices as a sales tool, because it's not going to work. We have never seen that by giving out a device that we would win a customer. So why is again, that's the danger. The danger is that it's very easy to play with, but it's very complicated to implement in companies because of the processes, because of the change management, because of the company culture. And the fun stuff is the devices. The fun stuff is the platform, the dashboards. That's the fun stuff. But SAP integration, Salesforce integration, trainings of people, analysis of the processes, that's far more boring and far more complicated, but that's what it's necessary, because without the change of processes, without proper change management, none of the deals are going to work properly. So I will start. Any IoT project should start with the basic qualification. it at all makes sense to talk to the company.
Now it's working.
Is it working now? It's not working on my side. Is it okay? If it's okay, just tell me what you have heard last time, because I don't know when I lost. I didn't have what did you hear last time? What it was the budget. Budget, okay, budget. So budget. Don't be afraid to talk about it, and get a budget approval for any project, for any POC beforehand. For the authority, if you are talking to a middle management, be sure that the authority, that the top management knows about the project, that they approve the project, and especially the people sitting on the money, that they are aware that such a project is in preparation, and also know where the money will come from. So whether it will be what will be the approval process. Don't be afraid to ask about the approval process of the project. So the tricky thing is about the need, because in the traditional sales process you are asking what is your pain, what is the issue. That's not always the case with innovative things like IoT, because with IoT very often you are trying to find new services, new approaches. So very often the customer doesn't even need to have the pain, doesn't need to have the need, but you can identify new areas to work with the customer. So if I take insurance company as an example, they don't have the need to have the sensors, the leakage or the guard sensors, but by having them, they can distinguish themselves from competition. They can improve retention. They can support acquisition of customers. They can get the mobile application on the mobile phones. So the need is like identify really what they want to get, but don't ask them all what is your main problem, what's your main issue, because it's something that you should find together. And time, be very specific with timing and milestones. Don't be what we are seeing is that like always be in each phase of the project, know what the next step will be, because very often the project just get dissolved because a committee needs to be gathered and this person needs to be notified. So always it's any kind of IoT project needs to have a proper project management and to know precisely what the next step will be, who is responsible for the next step, and it needs a lot of sales efforts and a lot of the sales push in order to bring the project forward. It's not going to be automatic that the customer wants to do it and they will do it by themselves. They all the time they need to be pushed, and I would say pushed even on a daily basis. It's a daily base management project. And it's not only up to Sigfox operators, of course, because we have some Sigfox operators here. It's also on the integrators. Therefore, integrators are quite crucial because they have the sales force and they can talk to the customer all the time. Then, please calculate total cost of ownership, because again, it's a pain in the ass. It's not easy to do, but it's quite important, because very often you just calculate the total cost of ownership after the POC, and then the customer discovers, oh, this is going to cost me that, and I don't have resources like that, and you do POCs and you don't do any field sales. So total cost of ownership shouldn't be a crystal ball, but it should be really calculated. Even if it would be rough estimates, it doesn't need to be very, very precise, but rough estimates are good. What is important to understand that there is like a template what total cost of ownership all includes. It can differ by project by project, but those are the ratios that we are seeing normally. And what is the most complicated part with any IoT project is that people tend to see the concrete thing. So they see the device, they see the price of the connectivity, and they think that when you combine those two, that is how much it's going to cost the company, and that's not the case. Most often the devices, they cost like 15% of the total cost of ownership. The connectivity is between 15 and 25% of the total cost of ownership over a few years, over 5 years. So again, please calculate total cost of ownership in order to understand the overall concept of the project. I have now like 10 slides, 10 or 12 slides. We have prepared a form in order to collect information from our customers, because when customers come to us and they ask us, please help us to choose the proper device, please help us to set up the payload properly in order the devices to work, we need to understand the business case. We need to understand a lot of data in order to advise them. It's basically consulting business from our side. And we have prepared a form. You can see the form, you can fill it yourself. And we have some examples. And I think that those examples of how a business description, use case description should look like could be quite interesting for you and in any of your projects. And also not only for you, but also for your partners, because you want to have someone will do some integration of the platform. You'll need to get the devices from someone. you will need to define change management puzzle. So those are examples what we would expect from a company to provide us in order to understand the case and in order to find the best devices and the best solutions for them. And also, please don't be shy. We see quite often that the companies are very reluctant to give out any information. We can of course sign an NDA, but don't think that you have the only and the brightest idea. Everyone thinks that they have this only one single idea and nobody thought about it before them, and therefore they think that everyone else is going to steal it from them. We haven't seen so many ideas stolen and implemented. So please don't be shy to really get into the details, because only after that we can find for you the best solution. So we have an example here. You can read it yourself. I'm not going to read it for you, but it's an example of a Czech. It's not a concrete customer. It's an example. It's a Czech logistics company transporting yogurts, and they need to track the taps of the yogurts. And what is important is to have numbers in any case in the business description. So you need to know because they are going to minimize the costs, the losses for them in the transport. So you need to know how much are they losing. So in this case, they are losing 4% of the yogurt because of various reasons during the transportation. You need to know how much pallets are they delivering a year. You need to know how much of a pallet of the yogurt costs. You need to know how much are they losing in this way annually, and you know that they are not going to eliminate all the loss, but they want to minimize the losses, and they want to achieve 50% reduction in their losses. So you know that the total cost of ownership of this business case should be around 200,000 euros. This is very simple calculation, but it's very important to understand really what is the main aim of the company, what are they trying to achieve, and it's also one of the most complicated to get from the companies, because very often the companies, they really don't know precisely how much they lose. They don't know how much a pallet cost. They know about how much the pallet costs, but they don't know precisely how much they lose. They need to go to the tables. That's a part of the consulting business where you really need to push the customer to provide you with the proper information. But unless you calculate this, you are not able to calculate return on investment. And unless you are not going to be able to calculate return on investment, you are not able to convince the company to be serious and to go into field deployment. The other question in the form is what you want to achieve. So they want to monitor temperature continuously, and they want also to be sure that the yogurts are not tilted, because when the yogurts tilt, they get spoiled. And plus, for them, tracking is a plus, but they are not so much interested in tracking. They just want to know where the yogurts are. So if they get lost somewhere, they are able to track it. They also want to lower the environmental impact, so they don't need to throw out the yogurts that got spoiled. And also they want to increase the customer satisfaction, because the customers will get the proper amount of yogurts that they ordered. The third question is about whether the POC, because most of the companies, they really want to do POC. We try to convince them not to do POC, but very rarely you are able to win any IoT case without POC. So it's crucial to define what is the difference between a POC and a field deployment. So we are saying here that the installation will be far more complex in the field deployment. The coverage check will be done in all 4,000 locations, and densification will be done. And for this case, in the POC, they will be measuring the temperature in order to see the trends. So they will be measuring the temperature like each 10 minutes. But in the final field deployment, they will be fine if the temperature will be reported only if it's under or over any kind of threshold. So they will not be not necessary to process all the data, but they will be getting alerts only in situation when it's beyond the limit that they have set up during the POC. Then the other question is define Sigfox coverage requirements. Again, we have seen so many POCs that didn't have properly defined coverage. They were expecting that it will work somehow, and the customer expectations were, the customer was surprised, we need to work with the fact that the Sigfox is a probability network. It's not something that 100% of messages will ever get delivered, unless you have a micro-base station and just local implementation. But when you do anything in the city, in the woods, on the streets, so you can get to 95, 99%, but you are not going to get to 100. We are too shy again. We don't communicate this to the customers properly, and we don't ask basically about the journey of the thing. So in order to understand the use case, you need to define properly where are the objects moving, especially for the POC, what will happen with them, whether GPS makes sense or doesn't make sense for the coverage, for the location, and whether any kind of densification is needed. So please define properly the coverage requirements, expectations of the customers, and have it in writing somewhere. Don't do just, okay, the customer is fine with this kind of coverage, have it in writing, have it in a project. And don't rely completely on the coverage maps. Coverage maps of Sigfox are okay in most use cases, but don't forget that you'll get attenuation if you, for instance, don't install it at 1 meter high. If you install it at ground level, so you will have attenuation already. If you put it inside a building, it will be attenuation. If the object is moving between 30 and 60 kilometers per hour, there will be attenuation. So don't rely completely with the coverage on the Sigfox map, but do field measurements. This one is quite important, especially for us when we are revising about the devices. Describe what you intend to measure and what data you want to receive. It seems to be obvious, but if you have it in writing, if you really define it properly, so it's very important for us, especially for the next slide that I have here. What kind of precision and why do you need it? We come across quite often with customers. They ask us, "Oh, we need to have like 0.1 temperature precision." When you ask them, why do you need such kind of precision? They say, "Oh, because we just need it. We just want to be as precise as possible." So please bear in mind that any kind of precision brings with it costs. So of course you can have 0.1 degrees Celsius precision in temperature, but then the device will cost you 100 euros. If you are fine with half a degree precision, the device will cost you 25 euros. If you are fine with 2 degrees Celsius, the device will cost you 16 euros. So there's always a balance between any kind of precision, either in location or in temperature measurement or humidity measurement or whatever you measure, and you want to report between the price of the devices, battery consumption, and the precision. So really do the business analysis of the case and ask the customer, do you really need to have the 0.1 precision for the temperature for the water temperature monitoring? Well, 1.5 a degree will be fine with you. What is really the business case behind it? So that's quite important, because very often we see demands from the customer that are far exceeding the real business case. Describe the situation which should trigger a message. IoT devices should be smart. They shouldn't be sending messages all the time, the same way as our human body is not sending temperature of all the sensors to our brain all the time. It sends information only when the event is relevant. The same way IoT devices need to work in such a way that they send the events only when they are relevant. So define properly when to trigger an event, what is the temperature threshold, what is the if you do geolocation, for instance, what are the boundaries where you want to get the event from the device or from the platform. Installation. Installation, it seems to be quite easy, but very often is the most complicated part of any kind of IoT project. You have three complications. The one is logistics, so you need to get the devices somewhere to the place of installation. Second is attaching it to the devices. We are just writing an article because we are launching some more mountings tomorrow, and we are recommending industrial double-sided 3M UVB tape. So we are writing an article about attaching devices. But you can use screws, you can use embedding, you can use different things. But the physical installation, it's not trivial, and in some use cases, the installation can cost you more than the device itself. And the third one, you need to have some kind of evidence, either QR code or writing it down or taking a photo. Again, it's a process, and it needs to be defined how to get this proper ID installed to the proper pallet, how to do this whole logistics thing of attaching the devices to the object. So it's not trivial. And I would say sometimes the installation is even more complicated process than the whole device setting. And the same applies for an installation. So will the device stay there indefinitely? Will you detach it? Will you deactivate it? Sometimes you want to deactivate it, sometimes not. Again, it depends completely case by case. Then expected reliability. Again, as we are not frank enough with the customer, so we are telling them, okay, you'll get the temperature with 100% reliability, which is not always the case. The Sigfox itself as a backend, as a platform, it has only 99% uptime. So it can help, even it's pretty high, so it's not at the level of Google or of Amazon services. We are at 5 with Google, you are at 5 nines. With Sigfox, I would say you are at 0 or 1.9 reliability. So just try to explain the price performance ratio to the customer. So if they really need 100% or 5 nines reliability, they need to look for another technology, which is not easy to find, because even GSM it seems to be very reliable. The GSM data is not very reliable. So just talk to the customer and set up their expectations properly before doing POC and before doing field deployment. Longevity, I think it is the last one from the form. What is the minimum time the device should last for? And then those are things that are already not in the form, but you should definitely define in the discovery. What is the data flow, how the data will flow, Will you integrate it into SAP? Will you integrate it in Azure, into any kind of ERP system, CRM system that you got? What kind of data visualizations the customer will need? What processes will need to be changed? Who will be doing the training? Who will be doing the change management? Who will be doing the manuals? It's a pretty big project. It's not, IoT tend not to be very small projects. They can be projects lasting for 12, 24 months, and they tend to be pretty complex, especially the bigger ones. And for the more questions and checklists, please see the discovery document that I listed in the beginning of the webinar. Then I have a few slides regarding POC, because we are repeating all the time, but it still happens all the time. So don't rush POC. POC shouldn't be a sales tool. POC is mostly self-inflicting. The POC, it's not that they wouldn't work, but they try to fade out. So they are never-ending POCs. And the major issue is that they are rushed. So really, please prepare 80% of the POC budget and POC in the preparation and just 20% in execution. Do the business case before POC, do the TCO, do the ROI, do the data and business processes, define the logistics, define the change management, define the legal liabilities before doing POC. POC really is not a sales tool. POC is always something that would confirm your expectations that you are setting up in the project. POC it's more of a closing tool than a sales pitching. And also open POC only with completed acceptance criteria. First, know whether it's about POC, proof of value, proof of solution. That's the differences between them. And then define what is the purpose of the POC, because you have many purposes, whether it's the device behavior, integration, data relevance, coverage. What is the real POC? What are the results that you expect from the POC? Define criteria that can be qualified. So say 90% of the devices will work, 90% of the messages will get delivered, the battery longevity is expected, the customer satisfaction is at 8 out of 10. So you can even qualify soft criteria if you will be doing any kind of focus group or customer feedback, but please have the acceptance criteria clearly defined before starting POC. And this is my last slide before questions. That's about field deployment. Do field deployment deploy gradually in milestones. Don't order everything you can order everything at once, but prepare milestones and do proper business evaluation at each of the milestone. You can adjust the project even during the field deployment. Quite critical is that there is it seems for people not being in electronics that when you order 1,000 pieces of a processor, it's a no-brainer. You will get it like within 1 month. You order 100,000 PCs, so you are able to get it at once. It's not completely the same in microelectronics. Even the big companies like STMicro, they are manufacturing only when you orders that are over 50,000 pieces. They only manufacture if you ordered it, and the lead times can be really long. So lead times can be 6-9 months. So please bear that in mind that you are not going to get if you order it now, you will not be able to get the devices. If you are ordering more than 50,000 devices, if you are ordering less, so they tend to be in the stock somehow. But if it's a real big deal, so this can be a complication. The other thing that we have seen very, very often is that most enterprise ITs are overloaded, and they have hundreds of projects running concurrently, and they need to put an IoT project into the pipeline, and it can take 9, 12, 18 months for them to integrate the IoT project in their systems. the big project that we were doing, for instance, with Procter & Gamble, failed because one of the partners was not able. The devices were ready, everything was ready, and the project failed because the IT department of one of the online retailers was not able to integrate IoT into their backend in time. So IT integration can be sometimes a big hurdle. The same with insurance companies. Very often they outsource the IT. So don't underestimate the IT integration part. Also, don't forget about change management and training, because we are changing processes. So people need to be trained. User manuals need to be done. Help desk needs to be trained. So in any kind of, because it's a digital transformation, so digital transformation needs to include the change management, and this can be costly. Training people can be far more. I'm always a little bit surprised when people are saying, okay, I need this device to be €1 cheaper, and when I ask them what the training cost will be for the project, they have no clue. Again, the training, the change management can be far more expensive than any kind of the devices themselves. And you just don't realize it because you don't see it. It's not touchable. The devices are touchable, so you think that's the most expensive part, and it doesn't need to be. But also during the field deployment, identify definitely new opportunities and try to replicate the use case with other companies. It's important just not to be completely in the process, but to see new opportunities all the time. So I think that is my last slide. I hope it was somehow useful for you in your sales effort. And if you have any kind of questions, and I'm also inviting you for our new product launch that we'll be doing tomorrow. And if you are coming to Sigfox Connect in Singapore, I'm looking forward to meet you in person. Do we have any questions? Did it make sense? Was it useful for your sales efforts? Okay, thanks, Avi, for feedback. Again, if it wouldn't be useful for you, it would be if you would give us feedback, if you would tell us what would you expect from us, what you would want to hear from us. We are here for you. I am without knowing what would suit you. We are not able to provide you with the sales support. Okay, thanks for all the positive reactions, for the feedbacks. I have a hard time. I'll put my screen brighter. Thanks, Guillermo, Natalia, Enrique. Thanks. Thanks, Jiří. Thanks, Ari. The slides, of course, the slides are shared this moment. The same, the video recordings are shared as I finish our marketing. Natalia from marketing is going to put them online, and it will be in the webinar section of our website. Okay, we are trying to give you the best support we can. Enrique. Okay, so nice. If you don't have any questions, you can always email me. If you would have, you can ask. You can raise a ticket at our. You can ask our online chat, or you can raise any ticket at ask SimpleHW.eu. And again, have a beautiful morning to Americas. Have a nice afternoon for Europe, and beautiful evening and good night for Japan and Southeast Asia. Thank you. Bye-bye.